Hey everyone, so I wanted to give you guys an update on all of the things to do to the Proton pack to make it slightly more screen accurate. First thing, I bought a LC-1 Alice frame. That is the proper frame for the back of this particular Proton pack, the Haslab one. As far as I know, Alice frames are mainly for load distribution on military backpacks and stuff. So, but you know, when they were making the first Ghostbusters, they decided to add that to the Proton pack. In the movies, they do have this little like rubber tubing thing. As you can see here, I just bought like a foot of it or 6 feet of it or whatever from Lowe's, and then I wrapped it around here. I put little cuts in here so that it doesn't quite stick to the ribbing there, because I'm a small dude, so I'm trying to make these pads as tight as possible. I don't think I've really gotten it, especially on the waist one. I still have to adjust a bit. But that's that. It attaches with screws and brackets that come with the backpack. With the Proton pack, rather. Oh, by the way, the battery pack, where you put in 4D batteries, you have full access to it even with the pack on, or the Alice frame on, so you don't have to unscrew or remove anything aside from the actual battery slot to get to it and change out the batteries when you need to. Phillips head screwdriver will do everything you need to put this on. But basically all I had to do was take the original padding off, remove it. So all I had to do was that, basically just pull them all the way off. And then I attach that, and all of the screws and brackets, they come with it, so there's like 2 little extender things here, if you can see. These you can't really get to with a screwdriver because of how the Alice frame has this like V here. So you basically are left to just hand tighten them once you have everything straightened out. And then there are 2 brackets that are the same size, and those go on the sides, and then you have 3 of increasing size. So the one that's the smallest goes at the top, then the medium, and then the tallest over there, because there's more space on the bottom than there is toward the top. So that's how all of that kind of goes on. Very simple. If you have the Alice frame and everything, as long as you have a Phillips head screwdriver, you can do everything else. Let's say this tubing here that does the padding, that is probably the most, not difficult, but the most DIY of the whole thing. But the good thing is, if you see the movies or anything, the tubing ends up being, you know, shot to shit and dirty anyway, because it's just, you know, tubing. So it doesn't have to look like super perfect or whatever. It's probably even more screen accurate if it's not. Okay, so just wanted to show you how to switch it on. Basically, if you're not turning it on from the Neutrona wand, there's a little red switch over here. It's just a little plastic switch, and it's kind of like in the movies where they need each other to switch them on because you wouldn't be able to reach it when it's on. But you can go ahead and flip the switch, and that has the Ghostbusters Afterlife mode, and that's why the thing here is there. Now you might be asking why I took this part off, and it's because there's 2 switches on the inside here that determine the mode and whether there is a like a rumble pack inside of here. So power that down, and if I take this off, by the way, it will not power on if this isn't secured in there. But there's 2 little switches in here. I believe this left one down here, well, you can't really see that there, okay. I believe this left one down here is the motor, and the right one switches between Afterlife and OG Ghostbusters mode, so I'm going to try to flip that. It makes that little noise there, and reattach that, and then let's see. Yeah, and that's the sound from the OG Ghostbusters, where it just kind of has a little light pattern as opposed to going in a circle, and that looks the same, and it has that same like hum there. So I left the rumble pack off because I don't like the way it sounds, and it's not particularly necessary. But yeah, all you have to do is, this just slides right off. You see some screws kind of on the sides, but they don't do anything. Goes nowhere, does nothing. But all you'd have to do to take it off is just lefty-loosey and pull it off, and then when you're ready, it goes back in, righty-tighty, and you're all good there. And that's basically all there is to powering it up from the pack there. Apparently, after you've turned that on, you can power it up using the neutrino wand for a bit. I believe there's also a cycle where I think the noise as a battery protection thing or a battery saving thing, it will turn off after like 10 or 15 minutes if you leave it on too much, so you don't need to just leave it on, all that stuff. I assume if you're walking around a convention, you're not going to fire it up that much. You might just turn it on for video or whatever purposes. So this is basically what it looks like on with the Alice frame. These straps are really comfortable. The pack itself is only about 15 pounds. I think I said that in the last video. The Alice frame is aluminum and straps. It doesn't add too much weight to it. But I've been walking around with this for a couple minutes now, and it's still very comfy. So I think if you're wearing this, and I'm obviously a small, svelte guy, so I think if you're wearing this like around a convention and everything, it's not going to hurt you too bad. It's not, like, the pads are so good, it's not even digging into my shoulders. I mean, it's meant for fucking military dudes running up a hill, so, you know, it's not digging in or anything. I got the shoulder straps to the tightness that I like here. The one problem I'm having with it as a short, skinny dude is I can't quite tighten the belt here too much, so it kind of like hangs down by my schwanz. But so we'll see how that is. Just to give you an idea of what everything looks like from the side, we've got the neutrino wand on the J hook there. I think it's called a J hook. That's it. This tube sticks out a little bit, so I might want to add like a little like hook or grapple or something to push this in, because I can imagine if I'm walking around a convention or something, this is gonna like knock shit over and whatnot. I have to be very careful even if I'm like walking in doorways and stuff in my own apartment. And this is what it looks like from the side here. Forgive my terrible posture. If you saw my Tosh.0, it's at least gotten better from that. So the tubing doesn't really like hit the back of my shoulders or anything, but it's still there for the space. But otherwise, it's very comfy there. Let me see. Pulling out the neutrino wand isn't the most... Well, that's not too bad. There's like a little a period of time once you switch the pack on as to when you can actually turn it on with the neutrino wand, or activate the neutrino wand when the thing's on. I think I needed to switch this on first. Let me check that out. Okay, so I've got the pack turned on now. Sorry, I forgot the sequence to turn it on. Forget it goes right to whatever. So the pack has to be turned on. Oh, and now turning off the neutrino wand turned off the pack. So let me try just turning it right back on now while the switch is still on from the pack. Oh, yeah, so you hear the neutrino wand. The sounds from the neutrino wand and sounds from the pack are coming out from each other. So the neutrino wand is only making the neutrino sounds. The pack is only making the pack sounds. It looks like there's a little bit of a blip there, so if you turn off the neutrino wand, it will turn off the pack, at least from the noises. But since I have the switch on, you can power it back on after a while. Still got a rumble pack in there. And you can fire it and do all the good stuff. And then if I turn it off again... the pack should be turning off. There's a little bit of a delay on that one. And then I got the J-hook here. It's supposed to... for the life of me, this is just a me problem. I cannot latch it back on from my own back. I have to see where the hook is because it's a very weird hook. I know some people who had their neutrino wands and their packs, the J-hooks didn't line up right. This will latch and it'll latch pretty well. It's just a matter of me not being able to see and not being able to put it back on there. So if I did take it off for like photos or whatever at a convention or whatever, it'd be very difficult for me to latch it back on of my own volition unless I had a friend to help me. But that's it. So the one last thing I'm going to do, because I'm not going to like super mod out the thing, I just wanted the Alice frame because it does make it a lot more comfortable to wear. And it's the pack isn't digging into my back as well. So because when I was trying it with the regular straps that came with it, the plastic was pushing into my back a little bit more. But what I will attempt to do is, I don't know, I might want to come up with a better system just to hook the hose up to the side so it doesn't travel around. But otherwise, and tighten up the waist belt because that is way too loose on me. So I'll figure out how to do that at a different point. But otherwise, since I had promised it to everybody, I just wanted to show you what the pack is like when you got the batteries in and all of that good stuff. All right, last couple things I wanted to mention. First, this little knob that moves over here, this is a volume control knob, so that'll determine how loud the Proton pack is. And then lastly, there's like a little Easter egg thing here. There's a little button over here, and let's see if I can pop it out. There's a little thing that comes out here, and inside you have a little bit of just a little mini compartment, but it has these leg pegs or leg holes there, and the whole purpose of those is so that you can take the mini puffs, and you can, because they have little leg peg stands there, and you can kind of like just let them sit on there in case you want to, walk around with a little mini puff sitting on your Proton pack. Though it does add, a couple inches of clearance there. So I don't know, that's fun. I know there's a couple other things, like if you turn on the Proton pack and you play with the ribbon cable, you pull it out, it'll make like the containment unit is being unplugged noises and all that stuff. But otherwise, that's pretty much everything on it. Again, the most difficult parts for me are getting that tube so that it's not going to knock shit over, trying to latch the neutrino wand back on the hook, because I cannot do that when I have the pack actually on myself, and the waist thing, just trying to get that to a place where it's tight enough so that it's comfortable and isn't just dangling down off of me. But thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll talk to you next time.